Hey guys, welcome to Be Good Farm. My name is Heather. Today I'm going to be sowing some onions, some celery, and some parsley. All right, let's get to it. Okay, so I have my 20 cell soil blocker. This is a 3/4 inch soil block. This is from Ladbroke. So I have my soil and I have a pan. I just got this year. It helps out a bunch, but I've done it in just a tote. You don't need anything fancy to get this to work. You just want to make sure your soil is wet, more wet than dry. And you just kind of shove it in there till it's nice and compact. And you could take a scraper. This is just a popsicle stick. Scrape it off so that it's flat. And I have it. This is just a regular lunch tray. Squeeze and it pops out. See? Now make sure that you're leaving extra space in between so that when you're putting water on the tray, because these like to be bottom watered, you don't want to overhead water because all of this is just going to end up crumbling. And if you put all of your soil blocks right next to the edge, then there's no room to pour the water, and then it ends up just all of this just erodes and ends up you have less seedlings at the end. So I'm just going to fill up this whole tray. I'm going to start some parsley, and with the soil blocks I'm going to be using this soil block drop seeder from Mindful Farmer. And you put all your seeds into this little tray. It'll drop into these little holes, and when they're all filled, you just pop it like this, and they fall through this other section and onto the soil block. I do a lot of seeding, so this helps me out. The first couple of years, I don't think I would have needed it, but for time-wise, I use this. Okay. So I just shook it around, and you see how there's a seed in each one. Look at that. That's amazing. So I'm going to be planting some onions. Now these are over a year old. I usually don't need this many onions. Each one of these has 300 seeds, but with onions, if they're over a year old, they usually don't have as great of a germination, but it won't hurt to plant them. So I'm just going to kind of dump most of these out and see what happens. After that, I just take some of the dry potting soil and just sprinkle it a little bit over the top. Now, onions are pretty hardy seedling. You can pull on them and they really do just fine. So they're gonna all grow up in this tray all together and have little shoots. And once it's gonna almost look like grass in here. And I'll just kind of pull out a handful and then pull apart each individual blade and then plant that in my garden this year. And this is just vermiculite. This helps to keep the soil moist and also to avoid algae growth on the top. I'm going to water that in and then I'll be done for today. Just to make sure it has enough water. I'm going to bottom water because they like to be wet until they start germinating. And I have a sprayer, a plant sprayer. And this will help to get that top layer moist and in direct contact with the seeds. Alright, so this is how I keep records of what I did. Just a simple notebook. This one has a column down the middle. You can use whatever works for you. But I have what I sowed, the date that I sowed it, how many I sowed, and then when I see some germination, I'll write that here and I'll write the date that I transplanted it so that I can put it in my calendar next year and just keep track of how well things did. If I planted 60 and I really only get like 10 celery, you know, I'm either doing something wrong. I need to adjust how I'm planting them. I need to adjust maybe when, maybe it was too early, maybe it got too hot in the greenhouse, maybe I didn't water them well enough. So, you know, if you keep some records, it'll help you to troubleshoot some of the issues that you're having. So this is a perfect time to show you the sunset. Let me turn you around. Chickens are finishing up their dinner and going to bed. I'm going to show you what some of the garden beds look like. There's absolutely nothing in them, but that's okay. In about 4 months, it'll be exploding with life and be beautiful. And I'll ask myself, why do you plant so much? Any of you guys have that problem? These are my perennial beds that I'm expanding. These had annuals in them last year, and they have leaves that fell off of the trees from this last year. And this row right here has some medicinal herbs, and there's the garden. So half of the garden is bed prepped, and the rest of it still needs a lot of work. Thanks for coming along with me today. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.